arms work just as hard as our legs. Fire up your triceps.
Your hips are dipping, always the option to come down to the knees.
Not as a weakness, but as a sense of strength, something that's empowering.
Namaste.
Hey patrons, I'm here today with another full-length flow video for you, and we'll be working up to revolved head to knee pose potentially. So a lot of side body lengthening and hamstring stretching either way. Revolved head to knee is one that students typically, when I watch them come out of the pose, it's like it just feels really nice, and you just have a lot of space and openness and lightness created in your body. So I'm hoping that's the case for you today. I would suggest probably having a block handy, at least a block, and you may want to have a strap depending on how tight your side body or your hamstrings are for later on for the revolved head to knee part. You won't need it for long, and if you don't have a block, you can always just use anything to prop yourself up on. If you don't have a yoga strap, not a big deal. You can always use a belt, a rope, or whatever you can have, scarf, something like that. So any of those things would be great. So we're going to start today laying on our backs. So start to make your way down to your back however you feel comfortable. Could be arms and legs long like Shavasana. It might be knees bent, feet on the floor. Could be soles of feet together, knees open wide. Anything that works for you. Feel free to put a blanket under your low back or your tailbone if you need to. Undo your hair if you don't have to be on camera right now like I do. I'd probably undo my hair, but you just make it work. And then start to tune into your breath. Each inhale, letting yourself feel present, grounded, centered. Each exhale, feeling yourself release, relax, restore. Each breath in, let it be a reminder to just be present right here, right now. Each breath out, surrendering any expectations, plans, or distractions. As you move on your mat today, remember that that's the real practice of yoga. It's just that internal sense of focus, allowing yourself to just be and breathe. It's not about the shapes that we make or don't make with our bodies. With that in mind, take another big full deep breath in. And exhale, let it go. And from here, start to find some gentle movements. Maybe take a long body stretch or your knees into your chest. You can kind of windshield wiper your legs or rock and roll side to side. Just starting to feel where you might be tight, tense, where you can start to create some space today. And then from here, extend your legs out long, arms up overhead if they're not already. And we're going to do a supine side stretch, so laying on our back side stretch. Now this always kind of goes haywire for people, but it's really not so hard. So think about making a crescent moon shape with your body. We're going to take our hands over to the top right corner of our mat. Might kind of scoot our shoulders, but both of my shoulders are still staying on the ground. I'm not rolling on my side. And then my feet are going to go to the same side that my hands did, so over to the bottom right corner. So I'm getting a nice long full body stretch along the left side of my body. Again, my hips are staying on the ground. I'm not rolling onto my side, and my hands and feet are going the same direction. So those are the two things I see go wrong. Either we're kind of rolling like this, or we've got feet going one way and arms going the other way. So everything goes to the same side. Take another breath in. And then exhale, coming back to center as though you were doing mountain pose on your back. So just everything through midline, and then switching to the other side. So hands and shoulders go over to the top left side, feet, ankles go over to the bottom left side. So stretching along the entire right side of your body. Just let your nose, your face point whichever direction it wants to point. If it wants to go to the ceiling, if you want to kind of rock it to the side, whatever your neck wants to do. And then slowly starting to come back to center again, like we're doing mountain pose on our back. Take your knees in towards your chest, maybe a little gentle rock and roll, massage the low back if you want to, and then either rock and roll or press your way all the way up to a seat. From here, we're going to come into tabletop, so coming onto hands and knees, hands right under the shoulders, knees right under the hips. Then inhale, cow pose. Drop your belly, gaze forward, peel your collarbones open, send your tail up. Exhale, cat, curl and round, arch your back. Inhale, cow, let your belly sway and stretch. Exhale, cat, curl, round it. Keep going at your own breath pace and feel free to change up these movements. So you can do side stretches, you can do some child's pose, anything you want to do. We are going to do thread the needle together, so you don't need to rush there. Also, while you're here and while you're working, I get asked this a lot, is if you have to have the bottoms of your feet or your toes on the mat, you can also put the tops of your feet down. It doesn't matter in your tabletop and your cat-cow. For other things that you might do later that are a little more challenging, like tabletop dancers or something, it matters a little more. But when you're just kind of stretching out, who cares? Do whatever feels good. Take a few more breaths. When you're ready, start to make your way back to center. From here, working into our thread the needle. So you're going to inhale, reach your right arm up to the sky, like we're stretching through our chest or opening up a big bird wing. And then exhale, thread it through the opposite side so that your shoulder, the side of your head or your face, come all the way down to the ground. So we're stretching along the outside of the shoulder, the upper back. If you want to add a little chest stretch in too, you could loop the left hand around to the sacrum or maybe even to the hip crease or the mic pack if you were wearing one. Just opening, breathing. If that causes any discomfort in the neck, use the hand on the mat for more support instead. Then when you're ready to come back up, root the hand into the floor. Feel free to find some motion or maybe open up the arm again. When you're ready to switch back to center, inhale, reach the left arm up, shine your chest open wide. Exhale, thread it across. So again, left shoulder this time coming to the ground, left side of the face. If you couldn't see what I was talking about on the first side, the hand can help act as support here, or we can kind of start to loop it around. But again, if the neck starts to feel uncomfortable, if we're resting in our neck too much, use the hand on the mat to help support your body weight. Breathe into the upper back, the outer shoulder. One more inhale. And then slowly start to unwind back to center. Again, you can find some motion, open it up again, or just come straight back to down or tabletop. From here, we're going to take a big full deep breath in. And exhale our way to downward facing dog. Send your hips up and back. Start to walk out your down dog. Notice how your hamstrings feel today. If we're feeling a little tight in the chest and shoulders, you can bend both knees. Let your heart sink a little bit more towards your thighs or your shins. If you're feeling like you could use some more hamstring stretch today, maybe you really focus on pedaling out the legs, dropping the heels a little bit closer to the ground eventually. Wherever you are, take another full breath in and a full breath out. Now from here, we're going to try a down dog twist. Some of us might need to walk our feet in a little bit closer than we would for a traditional down dog, so just know that that's an option. You're going to take your left hand and start to reach it across for the outside of your right leg. So it could be your calf, your thigh, your ankle, somewhere around there. Finding that sense of connection, start to peek under your armpit if you can. So getting a little bit of twist, a little bit of side body stretch. One more breath in and exhale back to your down dog. Switching sides, take the right arm across, grabbing where we can. Again, if we can't quite grab anywhere, see if you can shorten your stance. Bring your feet closer to your hands. Peek underneath the armpit or the tricep. Good, one more breath in and exhale back to your down dog. Take a full breath in once you get there. Then exhale, start to walk your way up to the top of your mat for ragdoll. So once you're there, feet about hip width distance apart, relax your head and neck, bend the knees if the low back feels tight. You can let your arms dangle, you can grab opposite elbows, you can interlace your hands behind the nape of your neck. If you want some more motion, you can sway a little bit, shake your head yes and no, shift the weight around in your feet. Start to gently release your arms if you haven't already. Shimmy your feet to a standing width distance, whether that's hip width distance apart or big toes to touch with a sliver of space between the heels. From here, inhale, rise all the way up to standing, nice and slow. Once your head is over your chest, we'll bring hands to heart center and close your eyes. And take this opportunity to set an intention for your practice, something that's going to keep you focused, centered, grounded as you move on your mat today. Whatever that thing is, take a big full deep breath in, seal it in your heart. And exhale, let it go. Take another breath in together. And exhale, let it out. Those arms come up overhead. Try to plug your shoulder blades down your back. Grow tall through the crown of your head. Notice where you're carrying your weight in your feet. If you can kind of evenly distribute it, pull your quads, these big muscles on the tops of your thighs, up away from your knees. Hug your inner thighs to center. Take a big full deep breath in. As you exhale, grab onto your left wrist with your right hand. Take an inhale and exhale. Start to stretch over to the side. So this is exactly what we were doing when we were laying on our back. So except our feet are kind of centered more than they probably were because we have to stand upright. But anyway, stretching through the left side. Inhale back to center. Switch your grip. Exhale, stretching the other way. So depending on your hips, some people who have maybe sciatica or just really tight hips, maybe the hips don't want to go out to the side. That's okay. We can just keep the hips right on top of the knees and the ankles and just make this a side body stretch. That's okay. Otherwise, maybe taking the hips a little bit out. Inhale back to center, arms up overhead, back to mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Let your head and neck relax. Inhale, lift halfway. Hands come either to maybe our mat, our block, or our shins. Squeeze the shoulders down and back. Don't skip your halfway lift. It's a great place to build core strength. So really pull the belly in and up. Exhale, high plank. Plant your hands back. Step to the back of your mat. Lower down, or excuse me, hold your high plank, sorry. Hold and breathe here. Now, we can come down to our knees if we need a little bit more low back support. But working on building that core strength either way. One more inhale. As you exhale, shift forward. You can come down to your knees or lower straight all the way down to your belly. Once you're there, tops of the feet come to the floor. Inhale, baby cobra. Use just the muscles in your belly and your back to lift your chest up off the ground. So little to no weight in our hands. We're not trying to push ourselves up, just using the muscles in the core, the chest, the upper back. Root down through the tops of your feet. One more breath in and exhale, slowly lower down. Come back onto the balls of your feet. Or press straight up to high plank, or we can come to all fours first. Exhale your way to downward facing dog. Send your hips up and back. Take a full breath in your down dog. And a full breath out. Inhale, look ahead. Exhale, step or spring to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. As soon as you stand up, grab onto your left wrist. Exhale, side body stretch over to the right side. Inhale, back to center, switch your grip. Exhale, over to the other side. Inhale, back to mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Relax your head and neck on the way down. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, now we chaturanga. Plant your hands. Step your feet back. Inhale, upward facing dog after you lower down halfway. Exhale, downward facing dog. Flip your feet, send your hips back. Last time through, inhale, look ahead. Exhale, step or spring your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Once again, grabbing that left wrist as soon as you rise up tall. Exhale, side body stretch. Inhale, back to mountain. Exhale, switch sides. Inhale, back to mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, chaturanga. Always the option. Remember, skip chaturanga. You just stay right here in high plank while everybody else does their up dog. And then exhale your way to downward facing dog. Take a full breath in. And a full breath out. Now, moving on. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Hold and breathe right here. Notice the muscles that you're using to lift your right leg. Are you just relying on maybe your quads or your hamstrings or your glutes? Can you use the muscles through your chest, your belly? Take another inhale. Exhale, low lunge. Sweep that foot forward, or maybe we take several steps or even help our foot up to the top of our mat with our hands. From here, Leave your left hand planted. Inhale, low lunge, open twist. Start to reach your right arm up. Hold and breathe. So this is a lot like what we did in our thread the needle prep where you're opening up your chest, but now our legs are a little bit different. Notice if this left hip kind of starts to get lazy, kind of sags, press more into the ball of the left foot so that the hip opens up, getting a little bit of hip flexor stretch maybe on the way. Take one more breath in. Exhale back to your low lunge. From here, inhale, crescent lunge, plant into your back foot, lift your shoulders up over your hips, hold, breathe right here. If our low back feels a little bit tight today, you can bend your left knee a little bit more. Tuck your tailbone slightly forward, feel that space, and then pull your belly, your lowest ribs, into center a little bit more to help stabilize your low lumbar spine. Notice again this hip. Trying to keep the left hip even with the right. Press more into the ball of the left foot. Hips become especially important right now. Take a full breath in. Exhale, adding an open twist. So starting to take your right arm back, left arm forward. Now the reason the hips are important is most likely we're gonna wanna twist from the hips because we're like, oh my gosh, look how far I'm twisting. But really, it's our hips uneven that are doing the twist for us. It's not our spine. So coming to center, keeping the hips squared forward, letting the chest, the upper back, do the twist, even if that means we don't twist so far. It's okay. From here, inhale, exalted warrior, reach up and back. Right hand goes to the back thigh. Reach up and back through the left palm. Think about lifting through your chest, lengthening through both sides of your body. One more breath in. Exhale, warrior two. Pivot the left heel down to the ground. Shimmy your stance a little bit wider apart. Sink into that front leg, opening up through the hips and the heart. Traditionally looking over the front hand, but if the neck feels tight, we can always look to the side that our hips are pointing to as well. Inhale, reverse warrior. Reach up and back, extend. So it feels very similar with that side body lengthening to the exalted warrior. Exhale, chaturanga. Hands come down. Step your right foot back to meet your left. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Hold and breathe here. See if you can sink that right heel to the floor a little bit more. Project the left heel up to the ceiling a little bit more. Take a full inhale. Exhale, low lunge. Again, as many steps, as much as you need to come all the way through to the front. This time, right hand stays planted. Reach the left arm up. Now, those of us who are really tight, we may need to put a block underneath this hand, okay? And that's all right. If that's what it takes to get the chest open, that's fantastic. Could be we're really tight in the hips too. That's another problem that sometimes people encounter. So just whatever we need to find more space through the chest, the upper back. Take another big full deep breath in. And exhale back to your low lunge, hand to the floor. Inhale all the way up to crescent lunge. Think about pulling your inner thighs, your low belly, your chest, everything up into center, hold and breathe. Now, if you need to make that little hamstring adjustment we did the first time, go for it. If you feel pretty confident in your legs, see if you can lift your right heel off of the ground a little bit more. Find some more balance challenge, some more quad challenge. Keep your hips pointing forward. Take a big breath in. Exhale, open twist. So twisting again, just from the chest. Keep pulling this right hip back to center. You should feel a little bit of stretch through the front of the right hip. Depending on how your neck feels, maybe peeking over the shoulder towards the left hand. Then from here, inhale, exalted warrior. Reach up through your sternum, lift through your chest, find a little gentle back bend. Roll the shoulders down away from the neck. Take another inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Pivot your right heel to the floor, lengthen your stance as much as you need to. I always tell people adjust from the ground up because we can settle in as much as we want to here. As soon as we change our feet, it changes everything else. Your legs start to change, your knees, your hips, everything shifts. So if we get our feet into place first, then we don't have to do extra work fixing things later. So once you settle into your warrior two, engage the triceps. Inhale, reverse warrior. Reach up and back, continue sinking into the ball of that left foot. That left knee almost always wants to straighten. Exhale, chaturanga. Hands come down to the ground. Step your left foot back. Lower down, step. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. One more inhale and exhale, let it go. Now we're gonna start to flow, one breath to one movement. Always feel free to go at your own pace though if you need to. Inhale, lift your right leg up high. Exhale, low lunge, take it through to the top of your mat. Inhale, low lunge, open twist. Leave your right hand on the floor, left hand on the floor, reach your right arm up. Exhale, back to low lunge. Inhale, crescent lunge, come all the way up to center, shoulders over hips. Exhale, open twist, reach your left arm forward, right arm back, hips stay squared to center. Inhale, exalted warrior, reach up and back through your left palm as your right hand rests on your back thigh. Exhale, warrior two. Pivot your foot to the floor, open up your stance. Inhale, reverse warrior. Stay low in your lunge as you reach up and back. Exhale, chaturanga. Hands come down to the ground, or always the option, skip it, hold high plank, go straight to down dog. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, low lunge, take it through to the top of your mat. Inhale, low lunge, open twist, lift your left arm up. Exhale, back to low lunge. Inhale, crescent lunge, pull everything into center. Push through your back foot. Exhale, open twist, keep pulling your right hip back to center. Inhale, exalted warrior, lift up through your chest, your sternum, lengthen both sides of your body. Exhale, warrior two, readjust your feet. Inhale, reverse warrior, reach up and back, extend. Exhale, chaturanga, hands come down to the ground. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Adding things on this last time through. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, low lunge, take it through to the top. Inhale, low lunge, open twist, lift your right arm up, changing things up. Hug everything into center, lift straight up to your crescent lunge, open twist. Big balance challenge there. Hug your inner thighs, maybe peek over the back shoulder. Inhale, exalted warrior, reach up and back, extend. Exhale, warrior two, pivot your foot to the floor. Adding on, inhale, star pose, heels in, toes out, arms up. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. I'm gonna pivot around so that you guys can see me. So from your wide-legged forward fold, you can hang out here, or maybe bend a little side to side if you want. You can take a little twist. We're gonna do a chest expansion on the other side, so you don't have to do that yet, or if you don't know what it is, no worries. But just taking this first prasarita to feel out your hips, your hamstrings. You can relax your head and neck if you want to. If you're feeling really tight in your hamstrings, take the weight more towards the balls of your feet, less into your heels. Take one more breath in and one more breath out. From here, either hands to the hips or arms to a T. Inhale, rise all the way back up to center. Exhale, warrior two. Pivot your toes to point forward, readjust your stance as needed. Inhale, reverse warrior once again, sinking into your lunge, lengthen your ribs. Exhale, chaturanga, or we skip it. Lower down, halfway step, flip to the tops of your feet, roll your shoulders down your back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, low lunge, land softly at the top of your space. Inhale, low lunge, open twist, lift that left arm up. Now, you know where we're headed. Hug everything into center, especially your inner thighs, your quads, your low belly. Come all the way up to your crescent lunge, open twist. Once you're there, inhale, exalted warrior. Reach up and back, stretch the side of your body. Exhale, warrior two. Pivot your heel down, readjust. Inhale, star pose, big, tall, strong. This time, we're gonna do that chest expansion I mentioned. So you're gonna interlace your hands together behind your low back. It looks like this. From here, roll your shoulders down and back, open up your chest. Exhale, start to fold your way forward. Now, if this causes any pain or discomfort in the shoulders, just release the hands, do the forward fold like we did the first side. If you want a little bit more shoulder stretch, start to lift the hands up away from the low back. Think about taking the knuckles towards the ceiling rather than towards the floor. Good, take another breath in. And as you exhale, start to return the hands gently to the low back, either hands to the hips or arms to a T. Keep your back as long and flat as you can so that your belly stays strong as you rise back up. Exhale, warrior two. Pivot your toes forward, bend the knee once again. Inhale, reverse warrior, reach up and back, extend. Exhale, chaturanga, hands to the mat. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. One more breath in together. And exhale, let it go. Come on down to a seat. Good job so far. We are going to get into some core work. So if you need to pause the video, take a quick sip of water, use the restroom, now's a great time to do it. All right, so for our core today, we're gonna come down onto our backs, starting off simple. Simple doesn't have to mean easy, but regular, good old-fashioned crunches. So you're gonna come on down to your back, feet on the floor about hip-width distance apart, knees bend up to the sky, hands behind the head or neck. Now, low back should be grounded. So that's something I see happen a lot is sometimes if we have a natural big curve to our back, there's this pocket underneath our spine, which can get a little bit low back soreness when we start doing crunches. So adjust the tilt of your tailbone if you need to. You might need to kind of think about tucking your tailbone up to the ceiling a little bit so your low back stays on the floor. Take a big full deep breath in. Exhale, lift your chest up off the ground. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. As you lift, think about lifting from your heart, not so much your head, and try to keep your chin up out of your chest. So we're not lifting with our neck and doing this whole thing. We're really lifting from the heart. Hands are just there to support the head and neck. They're not doing the lifting for us. We're here for 8, 7, 6, go at your own pace, 5, just counting for time, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Quick release, relax. You can stretch out for a second. From here, we're gonna move on to tail lifts. Now these are deceptively hard because to be honest, it doesn't look like you're doing very much, and that's the idea. If it doesn't look like you're doing much, that means you're doing them right. So the idea is that we're working the very lowest muscles in our abdominal group. It's also like a little bit of your pelvic floor, so it kind of feels like those muscles we use to stop the flow of pee. I know that that's weird, but it is. It feels kind of like that sensation. So think about lifting your feet straight up in the air. So just little lift, like I'll move my hand because you might not even see it otherwise. So just a little tiny lift, okay? It is not trying to go like this. This is what I see sometimes, no joke, and I'm not even exaggerating that much. This is what I see sometimes. So this is like, I don't know what this is, but it's not what I'm wanting you to do, okay? So don't do this. All right, just using those lowest abdominal muscles in your pelvic floor to lift up a little bit. You shouldn't have to do too many to start feeling these. We're just here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest, release, again, maybe rock it out. Long body stretch, whatever it is that you need. Last little bit we'll do. It's one of my favorite oblique exercises. There's another video that has them in it. I use them a lot because they are very effective. Take your knees over your hips, shins parallel to the floor. Take your left hand, or right, it doesn't really matter to be honest, your hand on top of your thigh. Other hand goes behind your head. Then extend your leg out, but not resting on the floor. Now, the more you press your hand and your thigh together, think of it like a gas pedal, the harder it's gonna be. Take a full breath in, exhale, cross the elbow across. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift. Keep that leg lifted. 5, 4, 3, press a little harder for the last 2, and 1. Switch, go to the other side, lifting up on your exhale, lower on your inhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, press a little harder, 3, 2, and 1. Woo, rest, release, relax. You can rock it out side to side, long body stretch, whatever it is you need to do to forget that you just did core. And then start to make your way all the way up to a seat. You can do a little seated cat-cow if you want to once you get here. Nothing I really need to demo in the next standing sequence, But I would say have your block handy if you like to have it for maybe some hamstring stretches, if you're a little tighter in the hamstrings. And if interlacing your hands together behind you during that prosterita forward fold we did was a little challenging, maybe have your strap handy too. You might want it for that again, because we're gonna do that same hand interlacing thing. From here, back to down dog. So if you wanna do an up dog on the way, to stretch out your belly, you can. Otherwise, just straight to your down dog. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Inhale, lift your right leg up high. Exhale, low lunge, take it through to the top of your space. Inhale, warrior one. So you're gonna plant your left heel down on the ground, and your left toes are gonna roughly point kind of at a 45-degree angle, maybe towards the top corner of your mat. From here, you're gonna come all the way up, shoulders over hips, and our hips are squared forward, like they were in the crescent lunge. That's kind of why I preached about it at the beginning in those twists too. So especially with women, we tend to wanna open the hip to the side a little bit. So in this case, the left hip would kind of be open. You'll see my hands are on my hips. That's because it's a really good indicator when you're practicing at home by yourself of where your hips actually are. If you can't see yourself in a mirror or you don't have somebody there to help you like a teacher, you can look down at your hands and see like, are my hips actually pointing forward? So just a little cheat there. Arms come up overhead. This is your warrior one. Take a big full deep breath in. Exhale, start to interlace your hands together behind you. Now, as I mentioned, if we struggle, a lot of times if we have really strong shoulders, we struggle to interlace the hands, you can take your strap or your belt or whatever it is that you have and use that as your hands interlacing behind you. So just holding on to that. So that's just an option. Interlace your hands, roll your shoulders down and back. Take a big full deep breath in. Exhale, humble warrior. Start to melt your crown of your head, the top of your head, down towards the ground. So your back is rounding a little bit. Your knee is still bent. From here, just like in that prosterita chest expansion we did, that wide-legged forward fold, option to lift the hands away from the low back. Stay rooted through your left heel. So really plant into the back foot so that you feel like you have all the confidence you need. If you wanted to, you could just rest your head on the floor, okay? Relaxing into the shoulders, then slowly coming all the way back up to your warrior one. Take your time, unlace your hands. As you exhale, pyramid pose. You're gonna straighten through your right leg. Keep your back long and flat this time. So much more intense in the hamstrings. This is why we may want a block to kind of use to help support our back. If we feel okay here, we can maybe take our hands to the shin or the floor. Gentle bend in the right knee is welcome too. Now, once we've had that hamstring open a little bit in our pyramid, again, we may want our block. We're gonna take the block to the inside of the foot if we're using it. Plant the left hand either on the block or on the floor. Start to twist your chest open for revolve triangle. Now you'll notice my hands on my sacrum or my low back. That's to ensure that my hips are level. So as I mentioned earlier, we don't want to cheat our twists by dropping the hips. Keep the hips level, open through the chest. This is my tighter side, so if I were to extend my arm out, this would be about as far as it would go. You'll notice the difference on my other side, but ideally the arm is reaching up towards the ceiling. Take another breath in, and exhale, back to center. Remove the block out of your way so we don't trip over it. Take an inhale all the way back up to star pose. So you're gonna spiral out of your twist, heels in, toes out, arms up. Exhale, Skandasana towards the back of your mat. So you're gonna bend your left leg, sink into your hips. Now, I know it's hard for me to see you right now, but stretching through this right hamstring, keep your heart lifted if we can. So we're trying to avoid rounding forward, back stays long and flat. Maybe lifting one or both hands away from the ground. Take one more breath in. As you exhale, come all the way up to your warrior two. So it takes a lot of inner thighs, a lot of core to get all the way there. Also a little bit of balance. Inhale, reverse warrior. Reach up and back, extend. Exhale, chaturanga. Hands come down to the ground. Step your foot back, lower down, stop. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, low lunge. Take it through to the top. Inhale, warrior one. So remember, step that right foot in enough that the whole foot can be on the ground and our hips are squared forward. If we're struggling to get the hips squared forward, maybe stepping the foot in more, or sometimes stepping the foot out to the side helps people. Not really working in my body to go out to the side, but for some people it really works nicely. Once you get situated, arms up overhead for your warrior one. Take a big full deep breath in. Exhale, start to interlace your hands together behind you or find that strap, whatever works for you. Roll your shoulders down and back, open your chest. Exhale, humble warrior. Start to bow forward. Think about that element of being humble, of surrendering. So letting yourself hang a little bit heavy. Hands, again, can stay on the low back if our shoulders are tight. Otherwise, maybe they're starting to lift up. Letting the head and neck relax as much as we can. There's no need to look forward. Rooting yourself through the right heel. Inhale all the way back up to your warrior one. Start to straighten through your left leg. Take a breath in. Exhale, pyramid pose, long flat back as you start to fold forward. Again, hands can be on our block. Whatever we need here, opening up through the back side of the left leg. No need to lock out the knee joint, just enough to feel the hamstring stretch. If we're using a block for revolved triangle, we put the block on the inside of our foot. Right hand comes to the block. Maybe left hand starts on our sacrum or our back as we open our chest and add that little twist for revolved triangle. Once you get comfortable, we can start to extend the arm up. So you might be able to tell the difference. This is my more open side, but just do what works for you. You can stay right here the whole time. Just avoid the temptation of dropping the hip for the sake of getting like the arm all the way up, okay? Keep the hips as level as we can. One more breath in. And exhale, releasing to center. Move the block out of your way if you need to. Inhale all the way up to star pose. Take your time. Exhale, Skandasana, Spider-Man, Spider-Woman. So sinking into your hamstrings, your hips. We can stay with hands on the floor, hands on our block. Hands can come to heart center. If we're really feeling adventurous today, maybe interlacing the hands behind our back like we did in Humble Warrior. Worst case scenario, we fall on our butt, okay? So if you need to bail out, try to go backwards, not landing on the knee. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, make your way all the way up to your warrior two. So really utilizing that leg strength, that core strength along the way. Inhale, reverse warrior, reach up and back, continue to bend the left knee. Exhale, chaturanga, hands to the ground. Inhale, upward facing dog, lift your knees off the mat if we can. Exhale, downward facing dog. Full breath in, full breath out. One other inhale, and exhale. Last little bit of standing we'll do. Inhale, look ahead. Exhale, step or spring your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Come all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands together at your heart. From here, we're gonna work our way into tree. So we'll take the sole of our left foot inside our right leg. Anywhere above or below the knee joint is awesome. We just don't want to press directly into the knee. You can use your hands to help get the leg where it needs to be. Your tree might kind of wobble. If you're like me, you're trying to find your balance. We can either keep hands at heart center, or you can challenge your balance by reaching up, or maybe today, continuing with that theme of interlacing the hands behind the back, lifting up through the chest. This will really kind of throw your balance for a loop. Not a typical movement we do in tree, most of us. Take another breath in. As you exhale, hands back to heart center. Release that leg down, maybe pedal at the ankles, whatever you need to do. Now, I should have said this before we started balancing. Most successful balance tip, try not to watch me specifically. If you're watching me, like I'm trying to watch the camera and watch what I'm doing, it's hard to balance when there's moving parts. So focus on something not moving. Try to just listen to my cues. So let's try it on the other side. Grounding down through your left foot this time. Hands to heart center. Take the right foot inside the left leg. Either again, above or below the knee joint. Option also to play with closing your eyes, partially or fully. Maybe taking the hands behind the back. Try to keep opening this right knee up to the right side as well. Sometimes it kind of just wants to go forward. Find that little hip stretch too. Couple more breaths. Good, one more full inhale. And exhale, release the hands, release the foot, shimmy, shake it out. Last little bit we'll do, it's called dancing Shiva. So you're gonna take your arms up overhead like mountain, kind of like we did at the beginning. You're gonna grab on to your left wrist and step your left foot behind your right. So kind of like a little curtsy. Now the more we bend into it, the more we stretch, the more we feel it through the side of our body. Depending on how your neck feels, you can look down, I've seen that. You can also look up, I've seen that too. So whichever one works for you. Inhale, back up to mountain, both feet on the floor. Notice the difference between your sides. And then switch, dancing Shiva on the other side. Right foot goes behind the left. Grab onto the right wrist. Maybe peek under the right elbow or down towards the left armpit. Stretching along the entire side of the body. Inhale, back up to mountain, arms up tall. Exhale, forward fold, let your head and neck relax. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, last chaturanga opportunity of the video. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. One more inhale. And exhale, come on down, have a seat. So from here, we're gonna do some seated stretches. We'll start with a wide-legged forward fold. So we're gonna take our legs kind of open like that prasarita we did, but now we're in a seated position. So if our hamstrings are really tight, we can bend the knees. If we feel like we need a little more stretch, we can flex the toes towards the face. From here, keep the back long and flat. Roll the shoulders down the back, and then start to hinge from your hips. Almost think pyramid pose like we did. So I would not be going super far today. If you're like me, you may not be going far either, but every inhale, we lift through the top of our head. Every exhale, we deepen. Some of us may be like resting our chests on the ground too, okay? So it's all about where you are today. Just breathing into those hamstrings, the hips. Nice. And then slowly starting to creep your way back up. Now this is where we're gonna work into our revolved head to knee, which is that peak pose we've been working towards. You should have your hamstrings nice and open, the sides of your body, your chest nice and open. So take your right leg out in front of you and take the sole of your left foot to your inner thigh. Now before we get too far into it, the key in this one is opening up the chest. So think about stacking your left shoulder over your right. Where we're headed is reaching the arm up and over and maybe touching the toes. But what tends to happen is people get in such a rush to touch the toes that we end up seeing something like this, where the heart is kind of collapsed, our face is kind of towards the floor. We're not really reaching our full potential. We're touching the toes, but who cares, all right? So don't think so much about touching the toes, just think about lengthening through the side of your body. So anchor through the left hip, start to lengthen, lengthen, lengthen through the left side. Two things we can do with the right arm. We can either reach it forward to help us with this chest rotation, or we can reach it towards the foot to extend this way. So reaching the arm up and over, up and over. If we're really tight and we want to use the strap, we can also loop the strap around our foot, use it as an extension of the arm, opening up, creating as much space as we can, then gently finding your way all the way back up. Propel yourself using the strength of your left side, and this is where you get that moment. So it should feel really nice once we do it. Let's switch sides. So take your left leg out long, sole of the right foot on the inside. This time, right shoulder is what needs to roll open. Reach either the left arm forward, or you can reach it towards your foot. Project the right arm up and over. Anchor down through that right hip. Keep projecting up and over. Getting further with each breath. Who cares if it doesn't touch the toes? We're just reaching, reaching, reaching. Then using the strength of your right side, inhale all the way back up to center. We get another moment, okay? Then from here, Congratulations, we just get to cool off. So if you have a block or a blanket handy, sometimes it feels really nice for the low back to just kind of scoot it underneath the knees for a seated forward fold. Otherwise, I encourage you to just bend your knees. We've already done a lot of hamstrings today, so now it's just about letting our spine relax. So either with the block or the blanket under you, or maybe just bending your knees, let your head and neck hang really heavy, stretch through your back. And slowly start to make your way all the way back up to a seat. From here, we'll make our way down onto our back. So if you want one last little bit of core challenge, you can extend your arms out and slowly lower your way down, mindful there's nothing behind you you're going to hit your head on, or we just lay down. That's great too. From here, take your knees in towards your chest for a little bit of happy baby. So you're going to grab outside edges of your feet. You can rock a little side to side. You can also grab your calves, your thighs. You can stay perfectly still here. Today, if you've never tried it before, try keeping your sacrum down on the ground. So sometimes I see this, which isn't necessarily wrong, but you're kind of missing a little bit of the hips. So if you can kind of put your tailbone towards the floor a little bit more, you start to feel that psoas stretch a little too. And when you're ready, both knees into your chest. Give them a good squeeze. Keep your right knee hugged in, send your left leg out long. Big full deep breath in. Exhale, supine twist. And I mentioned this on other videos before. I like to tuck my hip under. You don't have to do that. You could just send your hip to the side. You can also keep your legs together. You can twist both legs to the side if you have low back issues. Allow gravity to do as much of the work as you can here. Inhale back to center, both knees into your chest, gentle rock and roll, reset, and switch. Extend your right leg long, inhale, hug your left knee in and up. Exhale, supine twist. Tucking the hip if you want to, letting the low back stretch. If the neck feels tight, we just look straight up. If we want a little more stretch, maybe over to the left side. Relax the muscles in your jaw. Notice where your mind wants to take you. In these last few minutes of practice we have, just let yourself be present. No distractions, no plans, no obligations. Inhale back to center, both knees into your chest. Give yourself a great big hug of gratitude. Thank yourself for your practice. Breathe in. And exhale, Shavasana, just like we started. Find a comfortable resting place for your body that does not have to be arms and legs out long. It could be soles of feet together, knees open wide, could be feet on the floor, knees up to the sky. Could be hands on your hips, your belly, your chest. Start to relax the muscles in your face, your fingers, your toes. If you struggle in Shavasana to find a relaxation in part of your body, think about tightening or tensing in that area. So for example, if it was your fingers, maybe you would clench your hands into a fist and then start to soften, release, relax. And you can repeat that from head to toe with all your muscle groups if you want, or just focus in on what might be distracting you. Just let your breath soften, your mind, your body. Allow yourself to just be. find some gentle movement in your body. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Rock your chin from shoulder to shoulder. Gradually taking bigger movements, larger joints as you feel ready. Seal your practice with whatever you need, whether that's a long body stretch, knees to chest, or something else. At your own pace, rock on to your favorite side. Take this opportunity to thank yourself for your practice, to remember that this sense of being present is always there waiting for you, even when you're away from your mat. When you're ready, press your way up to a comfortable seat. We'll meet with eyes closed and hands at heart center. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to practice with me whenever, wherever you may be. The highest and brightest in me honors and bows to the highest and brightest in you. So we bring our hands to third eye center and bow forward to each other. Namaste. Thank you so much for being a patron, for taking time to do your practice, even when you can't make it to a studio. I am always super excited to get suggestions or requests or things that you want to work on. I want this to be worth your time, so please drop me a note and let me know what you'd like to see more of. Also, if you are enjoying the channel, please share it with your friends so that we can have more people enjoy the yoga love. Thanks so much, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.